Okay, really sorry about that. We're just having a little bit of a technical issue. But like I was saying, today's talk is very, very special to me. I'm being joined by one of my mentors, someone who has taught me and inspired me to be a vet. And she is also one of the best cardiologists in the country. She has since I was a student, I've been studying under her, working under her as well, even after I graduated. And it's really given me the confidence to be the vet I am today, and I'm so happy that I'm being joined by her today. I will just very quickly patch her in to the live session, and we're going to start talking about heart disease in pets, which is something that is very easily ignored and not a lot of people know about it as well. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly add Dr. Sangeeta in right now. Okay. Hi, ma'am.
Hi, Hannah.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for inviting me on this session.
I'm so happy that you joined. This is something that I want to do just as a series of sessions so pet owners can learn about new things. A lot of times, they're a little clueless about certain things, and it's a great way to educate people.
Yes, and I think you've been doing some lovely things on Instagram. I just saw your page yesterday. I'm not very good at this, which is why it took me some time, but finally I got here.
So I'm glad. So Dr. Akshay says hi.
Hi, Akshay.
Okay, ma'am. So let's quickly just talk about how a lot of people don't know that even their pets have heart diseases just like humans do.
Yes,
But obviously there are certain differences.
yes.
So
So basically, there are two things that humans have, which pets don't have. It's both dogs and humans have four-chambered hearts, like most mammals, but humans have what is called as essential hypertension. So that is hypertension without any known cause, and that is not common in dogs. So dogs, when they have hypertension, it's either related to heart disease or kidney disease. They also don't have typically what is called as ischemic heart disease. So dogs don't get heart attack.
yeah.
They get heart failure secondary to other heart diseases, but they don't have heart attacks or blockages to the heart.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that,
So a lot of times, especially with pug owners, etc., they just think the dog is breathing so hard that it's gonna get a heart attack and die.
yes. So, there are certain symptoms that we can look out for because ultimately your pet is like a member of your family and they're completely devoted to you. And as a pet parent, the pet parent needs to be very aware of the, they are the eyes and the mouth of the pet. So it's the pet parent which needs to tell us what is happening to the pet, and that is when we as vets can start treating for heart disease. So basically about heart disease, one thing that I really want to stress to pet parents is that as a disease, it is very insidious. So symptoms are not very obvious and in your face. Unlike parvovirus, where the minute the dog gets bloody stools, we can start thinking of this is a gastrointestinal disease. Symptoms of heart disease are so insidious, sometimes they're so silent that pet parents can often miss it. So, let me tell you some of the very common symptoms that dogs with heart disease have, and that should just raise the index of suspicion or awareness of pet parents. And the first symptom is cough. So, cough can be either because of respiratory disease or heart disease, and but typically a cardiac cough sounds as if something is stuck in your throat. So a pet parent will tell you, it sounds like my dog has something stuck in his throat, I don't know if he swallowed something. The other most common symptom is exercise intolerance. So the pet just doesn't want to go for his usual walks. So normally the pet parent tells you that I used to take him for a 5-mile walk and now suddenly he doesn't want to go anymore. That should raise the index of suspicion for heart disease. difficulty in breathing. So the pet sometimes pants more than usual. But it's also very important to remember that we live in a hot and humid environment. So panting is also, it doesn't always mean, so all these symptoms can be common to other diseases as well. So when they pant, it can be either because of fever, infection, just because it's just hot, but you need to be reporting symptoms to your vet. So then the vet can assess, look after your pet and decide whether it has to do anything with heart disease or not. So panting or breathing heavily, simple change in behavior. Pet doesn't engage in normal playful activity because it can't breathe well. So from the time that heart disease starts to the time the pet reaches in heart failure, there are phases where symptoms can be masked. So when the pet feels slightly breathless, he's not going to be gasping, but he's just going to be feeling lethargic, not wanting to join in his usual playful activities, decrease in appetite. When the pet can't breathe, just doesn't feel like eating his usual food. And of course, a change in appetite can be because of hundreds of other diseases. It's
Yeah.
just one symptom of heart disease. Weight loss. Chronic heart disease causes loss of weight. Uh, Abdominal distension. So once fluid builds up because of right heart failure, the pet can look pot belly because
Globally. Yeah.
bloat, because of fluid in the abdomen, fainting or collapse. So this can happen because of rhythm disturbances in the heart. So many symptoms that you need to look out for. Weakness, um, restlessness. The pet just feels restless at night because after lying down for a long time, there's edema buildup. These are all the symptoms that you need to be reporting to your vet.
Yeah. And ma'am, so so we spoke about a lot of these symptoms. So are there like after a certain age, or is there an age factor related to this where people should get a normal cardiac checkup done for their dogs?
Yeah. So, very neatly, if you ask me to classify age-wise, then young dogs, say from 0 to 4 years, they can suffer from congenital heart disease. Usually, that is picked up as a puppy itself. So, when you first take your pup to the vet, a good vet will always, as part of a routine physical exam, just put his or her stethoscope to the pet's chest. And you've gone through it when you were a student at my clinic, and we used to have a lot of fun time. But one of the things I always tell my students is just auscultate every single dog. That is, put your stethoscope to every single pet that comes in, because congenital heart disease is picked up as a puppy. So that's from 0 to 4 years. 4 to 8 years, middle-aged dogs suffer from a disease called dilated cardiomyopathy, where the heart muscle just stretches and expands, and then it doesn't have the force of a normal heart. This is seen more commonly in larger breeds. And then older dogs, smaller breeds usually, suffer from diseases of the heart valves, where the hearts don't open and close normally, and they become curled up with age, and then these are called leaky valves. So this is called chronic myxomatous valve disease. So these are the three age wise common heart diseases that you see.
Okay, and so I just quickly want to talk about cats as well, because I think a lot of times heart disease is ignored in cats, or it's not diagnosed as much as it would in dogs, because obviously cats don't show a cough.
Absolutely.
They wouldn't show the.
Yes, sorry,
Yeah,
go
ma'am.
ahead. So cats are masters at masking symptoms. And the first thing they do when they're ill is isolate themselves. So very often when they are breathless, the symptom is masked. So cats, the most common diseases that cats suffer from is called hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which is when the heart muscle thickens. And this can be either independent of any other disease, or sometimes it's related to a thyroid disease. So if you find your cat getting breathless or uneasy, or just, sitting in a corner, not wanting to engage, do talk to your vet about doing a cardiac checkup to rule out any heart disease, so either dilatation or thickening of the heart or something to do with the thyroid, which can cause heart.
Okay. And ma'am, and there are certain breeds that are more prone to cardiac disease. So, what breed would that be? So that when people are deciding to even
That's
buy purebreds.
a question, in fact, because there are certain breeds which are predisposed to heart disease, and pet parents who have these breeds should take their pets specifically for a heart checkup to their vet. And then the vet can do a routine, almost any vet can do a routine cardiac checkup and then refer to a cardiologist if it looks like the pet has heart disease. But these breeds are Dobermans, which are at risk, in fact, of sudden deaths because of rhythm disturbances in the heart. Then Cocker Spaniels, which are at risk of dilated cardiomyopathy. Then there are Springer Spaniels, which also are at risk of a disease called myxomatous, so disease of the heart valves. Boxers, which are prone to rhythm disturbances. So basically, small breeds for diseases of the heart valves, and the giant breeds for diseases of the heart muscle, in
Right.
short.
Okay, that's great. And just one more thing, since grain-free diets are all the rage
Yes.
all over the place, there have been studies that showed grain-free diets being related to heart disease. So what is your take on it?
Yes. So I'm not very sure because there are a lot of food brands which are linked to heart disease. If you see, most of these food brands are what I call as boutique brands. They are not science brands. So if you divide pet food into two categories, one is the science brand where the pet food companies spend millions of dollars. I mean, you would know, you're a vet. These pet food companies spend a huge amount of money focusing on research. So their foods are formulated to be more very scientific. And then there are other companies which are more, they're called boutique brands, where, just a few people get together and say, hey, let's sit and make dog food and sell it in the market. And these are the brands somehow which have been implicated. So if you look at the names, you'll see that the boutique brands are the ones. So I'm not sure whether it's the grains which are causing heart disease or simply not a very good formulation
Yeah.
which is causing the heart disease. But definitely in India, the one thing I've seen as a cardiologist is vegetarian dogs and cats suffering from heart disease. So please, please, pet parents, if you, for religious reasons or whatever reasons, do not eat non-vegetarian food, don't make your dog vegetarian. They are carnivores. So carnis means flesh eating. They need meat in their diet, and deficiency of carnitine and taurine. These are two amino acids that are very, very essential for heart health. So if they don't get these two amino acids in their diet, they can suffer from heart disease. So I'm not 100% sure because the jury is still out there deciding whether it's actually grain free or it's a lack of carnitine and taurine
Yeah.
because they have added too many fillers and that's caused a deficiency. But
Yeah.
there are definitely heart diseases linked to nutritional deficiencies, and these are mostly vegetarian diets.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. I mean, we don't need to push our beliefs on someone like on animals that really don't believe in those things at
Right,
all.
right.
Okay, so ma'am, so how would we prevent, like, are there any ways to delay or prevent these heart diseases in dogs and cats?
Yeah. So the first thing is to have a high index of suspicion because almost 70% of pets get heart disease at some point in their lives. So the minute they cross 7 years, the incidence of heart disease is about 70%. So if you have a high index of suspicion for heart disease, then you will be looking for the symptoms and you will be reporting for these symptoms to your vet. And prevention, as they say, is better than cure. So just talk to your vet about nutrition. Talk to your vet about having a good nutritional diet. Get regular checkups done. So I recommend annual checkups the minute the pet crosses. So if it's a large breed, get the annual health checkup done after 4 years, just to rule out, just get a chest X-ray done. And if your pet is more than 7 or 8 years, I recommend every 6 months, and when they're older, even every 3 months. Because you know what happens? Old age is compressed in 4 years. So 8 to 12 is old age in dogs.
Yeah.
And in these 4 years, they age very rapidly. So every 3 months, they age the equivalent of 4 human years. So it's very important that these things are checked regularly.
Yeah, for sure. We have a question here from Sunaina. It says, does a full cardiac checkup require the dog to be anesthetized? And what would the follow-up be for heart murmurs?
Uh, so no, definitely not anesthetized. Not even sedation is required because most pets are very compliant when they're with their pet parents. The only thing is blood pressure. We do take blood pressure. So basically, part of the full cardiac checkup involves taking blood pressure, then listening to the heart, taking a detailed history from the owner, doing chest X-rays and ECGs, and then echoes are done if they are needed. But uh, when we do blood pressure, then it's better that it's done in a very quiet room before you complete the rest of the heart checkup. We almost never need to sedate a patient to do full cardiac.
Yeah.
No.
And usually that would interfere with the readings as
Yes,
well.
absolutely, absolutely. Because if you give anesthesia, then a lot of arrhythmias are suppressed. So that's not something that vet wants to do in any case.
I hope that answers your question, Sunena. If anyone has any more questions for us, please feel free to ask. And also, this conversation will be posted on IGTV as well. So if you've missed the live session, you can always watch it on IGTV and you can ask us questions then, and I can definitely forward them to Dr. Sangeeta and we can help you out with that. Um, okay, we have another question here. Oh, okay. This is Mustafa, Simba's parent. I have noticed that 2 year what stop the I think Simba stops walking. What stops when walking? I think I just need to read that question again. It says, um, oh, Simba's been your patient for 2 years and he stops when walking. He's a golden retriever. So I'm just wondering if he's asking whether he's exercise intolerant or not.
So if your pet suddenly just doesn't want to walk, it could be multifactorial. It could just be because it's very hot outside and he just doesn't feel like walking in that heat. You know, just like you and me, we prefer to walk when the weather is good. He could be overweight and therefore not just feeling. So fitness is very important. Just like you and I need to be fit to exercise, they also need to be fit. And remember that obesity is it needs diet control. You cannot control obesity with exercise. You need to first control the diet, make your pet lean, and then he'll be more amenable to going for longer walks. Um, if he's 2 years and he's a Labrador, it's unlikely to be heart disease because usually we see heart from 4 years onwards, but it's not impossible. So you should just ask your vet to have a look at his heart and maybe just get a simple single X-ray done of his heart to see the heart size. And that's just one simple test that will rule out if there is any significant involvement of the heart.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I think that should be okay, Mustafa. I hope that answers your question. So Sunena has also asked whether heart medication for pets is available easily in India. Uh,
Absolutely. All these diseases, other than congenital heart diseases, are treated medically. None of them need surgical intervention, and all of these medicines are available very easily in India.
Yeah, so they are easily available. Okay, just another question. I think this is from Dr. Nimish. Uh, oh yeah, would it be helpful if cardiac checkups were made mandatory after a certain age, especially for certain breeds of dogs?
So, especially breeds which are predisposed, it's better if you take him to your vet to do a routine heart checkup. It cannot be made mandatory, but it should be definitely done for all patients above 7 years as part of a routine checkup.
Okay, so Naina has an interesting question. She says sometimes over exercise is also a problem.
Yes.
She has a Shih Tzu, so she's wondering how much a Shih Tzu should walk uh, in a day.
Yes, so
Uh,
she's typically lap dog, so they really don't need to walk much, and you need to be very observant because remember that exercise increases the demands on your heart. So if your pet has heart disease, or if your dog or cat has, cats don't of course go for walks, but if your dog has heart disease, do not force your dog to go for long walks because exercise will increase the demands on your pet's heart and they will not be able to walk for long. Being a Shih Tzu, he really doesn't need to walk much. So maybe 10-minute exercise 2 to 3 times a day should be sufficient. Sunaina.
I think before you decide to get a pet, a certain breed, you need to know what they do and what category they fall under, like working dogs or lap dogs, etc. So you would know how much exercise they need, and so you should know how much effort you will have to put in before you decide to get the dog.
Absolutely.
Okay, we have a question here from Blue Cross Vets. Um, how do you differentiate between syncope and seizures?
Uh, okay. This is a general discussion and a
It's
medical veterinary.
technical.
But yeah, syncope and seizure is usually neurological, related to the brain, and syncope is usually cardiac, related to the heart. And so syncope, typically the patient just faints and drops down, and when he gets up, it's like nothing happened. So he just lies down and then wakes up and he's back to normal. That's a syncope for you. And this is usually related to arrhythmias or disturbances in the rhythm of the heart. And typically, in a seizure, there is a pre-ictal or a pre-seizure and a post-ictal or a post-seizure manifestation of some type. So the patient is either uncomfortable in some way before the seizure, and then the actual seizure happens, which lasts for a few seconds to a few minutes. And after the seizure, there is a period when the patient is not completely normal. So he could be either dizzy or disoriented. So this is typically neurological.
Okay. We have another slightly technical question, Varuna. So it says, can saddle thrombus disease and blood clots be detected early on or prevented in cats?
Unfortunately, not. It's only when the cat uh, gets symptomatic uh, and they have, they show symptoms that it can be detected. It can't be detected early.
Yeah, I mean, actually, it'll be really difficult. I was just thinking of how would you detect a blood clot suddenly? Like, you'd probably need like X-ray vision to
No, no, no.
look into the body. Yeah, that was just a bad joke. I think we've pretty much covered all there is to know about heart disease. We've spoken about breeds. We've spoken about symptoms. Uh, so I think most pet owners would realize how important it is to get a heart checkup done regularly. There are a lot of people who don't believe that animals can even have heart conditions,
No.
but
Okay, so here let me tell you something, Henna, just a fun story.
yeah.
When I first started 32 years ago is when I first started being interested in heart disease. And at that time, people were so shocked that I was working and trying to diagnose heart disease in dogs. And I'm not joking, one client actually asked me, "Do pets have a heart?" And I was so shocked. So Now, fast forward to now. Now, everybody is a Google master, of course. They have PhDs because thanks to Google. And so last year I was seeing a patient and I did the ECG and everything, and I gave him the report. And then the patient went home, and then the next day I got a call from the pet parent, and he said, "Dr. Vengsakar, I want to know. My pet has a second degree AV block, so I want to know, is this a grade one or a grade second degree AV block?" So pet parents have come a long way. So I had to tell him that he needs to first do 12 years of basic training in veterinary medicine, and I will be able to take a 1 hour lecture on the different conduction blocks. But yeah, they are definitely better informed today compared to many, many
Yeah.
years.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad they are better informed, sometimes a little over informed. Yeah. So please trust your vet. They know what they're doing.
Yes.
And if you obviously have questions, you must ask them. But please don't try to self-diagnose or self-medicate because that can be very dangerous. Uh, okay, I just think we'll just take one last question. This is also one of your students. She says, can changes in climate affect a dog's health?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Would changes in climate affect a dog's health?
Yes, yes, absolutely. So, because panting is one of the symptoms of heart disease, if your dog is panting, then it could be either because of increase in heat and humidity, because they don't have sweat glands like we do. So, they don't sweat, and their mechanism of heat dissipation is through panting. So, if the pet is panting, then you need to actually, a good way to do it is to check the pet's respiration in a cool, quiet room when he's sleeping. So if you find your pet panting during the day, let let him sleep at night. Switch on the AC or the fan, and when it's really cool, observe his respiration. I even ask my pet parents to take the pet's respiratory rate at night. So if it's less than 30, then it's nothing to worry about. But climate does have an effect on panting. So you
Okay.
need to take that heart disease.
Yeah. And Surena just asked, do you think we should Google or not? But a lot of times I think for mental peace, don't try to read too much into what you're reading.
Yes,
Uh,
do Google. Do you should be informed, but trust your vets because they have so many years of learning and so many years of experience. So just discuss it for 2 minutes, whatever your Google research it is with your vet, and your vet should be able to answer what
yeah.
whether that's really valid or not.
Sometimes Google causes a little more anxiety, than by over information. So just don't panic. If you have doubts, speak to your vet.
Absolutely.
So I think we've spoken about we've covered pretty much everything, and it's been an amazing session.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think it's been great. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been really informative. I think a lot of people have learned so much from this.
Yes.
So thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thank you, Hannah. Thanks all of you for joining in.
So thank you, ma'am. I will see you soon at the clinic, I hope.
Yes, very soon. Hope to see you.
Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.